Okay, so we're going to come in here and address this issue. If I hit 3 on the keyboard, the area that we extruded out for the side of his nose here, it's extruded out a little bit far, but it's also lacking some resolution here to hold the form. It's getting very soft back here and just looking a little bit too flat. So let's add some resolution in here. We need another edge loop coming over the top of the nose, as well as down the side here that we extruded. So I'm going to use a split polygon tool. It's actually the interactive split tool. It used to be called the split polygon tool prior to 2012. And I'm starting up here in the nostril, and I'm just coming around the side here that I extruded. This is going to give us some additional resolution to work with. And then I'm going to cut up and over the top here. That's creating a triangle that we'll fix. And then ending here in the center. And enter on the keyboard will complete that. So I've got a little bit more resolution here on the nose, the top of the nose, to round it out a bit. So that helps us there. Let's go ahead and select these 2 vertices and we'll merge those. That will clean up that triangle right there. We've got quads now. And if we come to our side view, this gives us an area to pull up a little bit higher. I'm not going to pull it up as high as the drawing, but we can kind of round this area out a little bit. And then I can pull some of these down and over. And let's come back out here, a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to take some of these and push them back a little. And the closer I bring this down to the other line running through here, the sharper the edge is going to become, and that's going to create a little bit more detail there that we need, that it's lacking. And again, I'm going to pull these points up. They're still sitting a bit low, and start pushing some of these in. Okay. Just pulling some more of these points up. Probably grab this one too and pull it up a little bit. Okay, it's starting to look a little better now. These areas are stretching a little bit too much, so I'm going to bring them back in. I think this whole area that we extruded out, at least in my character, I pulled it out a little too far. Okay, push this back here. Go to wireframe so I can see the ones that are embedded in the cheek here and grab them. Okay. All right, let's probably bring this down just a little bit here and this one up. Let's hit 3 on the keyboard and see how that's looking. So that's got a little bit nicer shape to it now. It helped putting this edge loop across the nose here. Okay, so with this complete on the nose, let's just jump up here and address the brow before we start working on the mouth. We added this resolution that went all the way around to the back. And I actually want to finish shaping his brow area. We've got enough to work with now. So this part of the brow should go in. Can push this over and pull it out. So now we can see how the brow is coming out here where it needs to, in an area that's going back in the center. And we still need probably one more line of resolution here. So I'm going to drop in an edge loop. And it didn't complete all the way around. This is where we inserted one of the wrinkles around the eye. So it stopped right there where we have that. And I'm just going to finish it off with the split poly tool. Bring that around. And I need to turn my eyes off in here so I can see all the way into the eye socket. Okay, enter on the keyboard. So that completes the area around the brow that we needed, and we can come back in here and shape some of these areas just a little bit better. pull some areas out. And the tighter you push these points together, the more of a crease you're going to have here going along his brow. Okay, and we can pull this one out now, this one out. Right, so that's looking a lot better. Okay. And to collapse these down here, we're going to need another edge loop going along the front of his forehead. Let's go ahead and drop that in before we collapse these points down. Let's go ahead and collapse these three down into one by selecting two of the vertices. And I'm going to merge those, then I'm going to shift select the third one and merge it. Okay. I'm going to continue over the top of his head doing the same thing. And this is how you collapse resolution down where you've got too much in one area. This is what I did on the back of the head because I had too much resolution coming into his neck area. And we really don't need any of this on the top of the head here. And it is affecting the neck as well. So we've got all that coming back down into the neck here again that we don't want. Selecting those, shift selecting the third one, and we'll continue this all the way down the back. Right here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one right here, and we've got two triangles here, so I'm just going to delete the edge in the middle, and that fixes that problem right there. We can hit 3 on the keyboard. Take a look at that now. Okay. We'll have an area back here that we'll have to come back and address. Okay, so let's move back here and begin modeling the mouth. Okay, so we're going to continue working on our character's mouth and rerouting some of the topology around that mouth so that when the character talks and makes expressions, it will deform properly. And it's much like the eye socket, where we have to route it around the eye. And the process is sort of redrawing using the split polygon tool and merging vertices where triangles are created. And often you'll have triangles and n-gons being created in this process, and it's just sort of a matter of going back and deleting edges and merging vertices to make all of that work. Right now, we don't really know where our character's mouth is. We need to drop in an edge loop. We come to the side view, and we'll go ahead and drop in an edge loop that goes down the center of the character's mouth, actually just on the lower side. And we need that topology back here on the back of the neck as well. Actually grab these few right here and move them in. Let's go ahead and focus on the mouth now. We're going to use the split polygon tool to open up an area for his mouth. So I'm going to start on the upper lip, come across, and we're going to end his mouth here. And I'm not going to bring it down to the corner here. I actually want the corner of his mouth to be four-sided and not a triangle. So we've got an n-gon right here. That's our first n-gon to deal with. Let's go ahead and delete these faces here. Okay. So we can visualize a little bit better now where his mouth is. We've got an opening. And now what we need to do is to start connecting this area behind the area of the nose that we extruded. We're going to create the smile line that comes around down to his mouth and also wraps underneath where the chin is. Okay, so we're going to start up here, actually inside the character, with our split polygon tool. I'm going to just start right here and cut across and come out here on the outside. And you see I'm creating some triangles here. Those are pretty easy to clean up. And I don't think this tool is going to like making this corner here. I'm going to end it right there. It actually didn't like making that connection. Okay, so let's just try that again. It's still not doing it. It's sending it down the other way. It's kind of got a mind of its own. I'm going to use the old split polygon tool. To access that, I'm holding down the Shift key, selecting split. So there's the interactive split tool. That's from Maya 2011 and current. And split polygon tool is prior to that. And you don't get the preview on it with the orange line. You just get a green dot, as you can see there. That is a vertice that's getting dropped in. And then I'll start drawing this around how I want it. And I'm going to end it there for right now and come back and merge some of these points. So I'm going to merge these two. Okay, and then we'll merge these two. And let's go ahead and pull these over here. Keep our edge flow working properly. And we'll go ahead and pull this down. And I'm just pulling out a couple of these areas just a little bit more. Okay, this has come out just a little too far. I'm going to pull that down. Same thing here. I'm going to start dropping this down, creating a ring around the mouth. Okay, and I'm actually just going to delete this edge right here, and we'll come back there and deal with that in a moment. So I've got an edge that's stopping right here that actually needs to run up and over the nose again. We're going to create a little bit more resolution through here so we can have a smile line. So we need a few more edges for that. I'm going to use this one right here. Begin drawing that up and over. Okay, and then connecting with this one here, and then we'll come across the nose and end it here. Okay. So we've got sort of two triangles coming together here, and we're just going to fix those by deleting the top two, as well as the vertice, and reconnecting it here. Okay, so now we've got that edge flow happening. We've still got the same thing happening right here, and we could use probably one more edge loop coming up over the nose for that smile line. Okay, and I'm just going to grab the vertices here and merge them. Pull it over. I want to keep this edge flow happening properly. And this leaves me with another triangle that we need to do the same thing with to route it up and over. So I'm going to delete this edge here. And it's getting a little tight in here. I'm going to just grab a couple points and move them up. Okay, so let's route. Let's move these up as well. There we go. So this is the formation of the fold that happens from behind the nose down to the corner of the mouth. And let's continue with the split polygon tool. Just route this one up and over. And we should have plenty of resolution now to pull out that smile line. Okay, so let's do that. Grab the vertices and actually pull them clear out over the nose area. This one will come back just a little. And bring this one up. And I've got a point in there that I actually want inside. And pulling that out as well. Okay, and grabbing this one and pulling it out. And then I'm going to take these and start pushing them back in a little bit. That's going to create a smile line. And this is his cheekbone. Pulling that out. Okay, so we should start seeing the formation of that smile line happening if we hit 3 on the keyboard. And I'm going to turn off my wireframe unshaded. So we can see that happening there. The fold is actually coming out a little too far on his nose here. I'm going to go ahead and push this one back in a little bit this way. Okay, and I'm going to pull it down a little bit. It's going to create that fold that happens around the top part of the nose here. Pulling this one up. Should be able to see a little crease there now. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to pull this one up. Tuck it in. Let's go back to 1 on the keyboard. So we've got a little intersection here. This one can come in. And we've got a little kind of bump on the nose right here that I don't want. So space these out a little more. Okay. All right, so he's got a little bit of a divot right there. I'm going to pull that back out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull out a couple of these areas just a little bit more. I think we can have a little bit more pronounced smile line on him. And we'll probably make some room here, as well as here. This one could probably come up and out. Same thing here. And that should start forming it just a little better here. 3 on the keyboard. All right, so we can see that now. That's starting to look a little bit more natural around the connection between the nose and the cheek there. Point here that I want to pull out. Okay. Might even push this area back just a little bit more. And we need to route that edge, this one here, it's routing up to the eye right now, which we don't want. We want it to route around the mouth. Let's come back to 3 on the keyboard. And I'm going to drop it down to here. And we need another loop here. Okay. So again, we've got another end gone here, as well as here. So let's go ahead and address that. And I want to run a line from his mouth right here around the back. So from here to here. Okay. So that corrects that area right there. And we can probably pull some of these points in. I've got an extra vertice right there left over. Pull a couple of these points in a little closer to his mouth. Okay. And we can actually create a little bit of a smile. And we've got this extra edge right here that needs to get rerouted. So I'm going to delete that. And go ahead and route. We need another one coming across here. So I'm going to start from the center. Come to here and end it there. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect this line across to here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and drop in an edge loop right here. That fixes this corner here. And we've got a couple more triangles here that we don't want, so we're going to reroute those. So grabbing the old split tool and just coming up to here. And let's merge some of these points. All right, and we'll go ahead and delete this edge here and this edge here. And we're going to reroute those. So I've got one coming here in the corner. And this one will be coming down to here. We actually need to break this connection right here. So let's grab that edge. And we're going to reroute that from here to there. Okay. All right, so we've got this area right here. Go ahead and pull that back and bring this down. Kind of see that flowing around there now. Okay, so that's all starting to shape up now. Let's come back in here and just look at the corner of his mouth. I'm going to bring some of these points together just a little closer. Shape them a little bit better. These areas could come around here now. And that could come back over. And this whole row right here is very flat, so we're going to have to pull some of these points out. And I'm feeling like we might need one more loop going around the bottom here. His chin is lacking a little bit of detail. So I'm looking at the spacing here. We could probably stand to send an edge loop all the way up and over. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go halfway between here, and that's going to send it all the way up and over the top. So we've got a little more resolution there. And we're going to do the same thing here. So that should finish his neck off. Let's just come back here and take a look at our character. Let's go to 3. And it's looking pretty good. I'll just finish this lesson off with extruding the lips back. Come back to 1 on the keyboard. And let's come to our view over here and make sure we're following along. So I'm going to open up his mouth just a little more. Pull these points down because we're going to extrude his lips out. So this is actually his lower lip area that we're getting ready to do. And all of these can come back just a little. Okay, pull this point up here, create the circle going around there a little better. Same thing here. Just watching my edge flow. We've got a few little areas under here that need some attention. Okay, so let's come back out here. Okay, so we open the mouth up to create some space for the extrusion on the lips. We're going to double click on the edge there, and this is what you'll see happen if you've got an instance set up with your character. So we're at the point now where we need to go ahead and merge our character together. It's going to fix this little area I have in the back there that's open up. Okay, so I'm just going to select the other side of the face here and go ahead and delete it, get rid of that instance. And select the face here. We should come into our front view. Okay, so I'm just selecting all of these points here, the vertices on the center of the character. Hit R on the keyboard. I'm going to scale that to the center. That will flatten everything out. And then I'm going to check here in my front view, W on the keyboard, and then holding down the X key to snap to the grid. I'm just going to snap all of those vertices to the center origin. And under Mesh, I'm going to select Mirror Geometry option box and go ahead and mirror that over in -X. Come over to my inputs. There's Polymirror 1, and I'm going to change the threshold to 0.01. Come back out here, select the character, and we can come out to our perspective view. Hit 3 on the keyboard and take a look at the character. Now that we have him put together, he's got a few little lumps here and there that need some addressing. Okay, so I'm going to come back to 1 on the keyboard, and now we can double click on that edge around the opening of the mouth, and we're going to go ahead and start extruding that out to create the lips. So I'm going to center it in world space and scale it in and scale it back out in X. That will bring the corners of the mouth a little bit back towards the existing corners there, and then I'm going to scale it in Y a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this out initially. He's got very thin lips here, so depending on your character, you're going to either pull them out more or less. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these points here and pull them back. I'm going to turn reflection on. I'm just double clicking my move tool and coming down to reflection. I'm going to turn that on. That's going to allow me to work on both sides of the character at the same time. That way I don't have to duplicate anything and it's following along exactly. I'm going to scale these together to create a little bit sharper point. And push them in like that. So I'm just creating the corner of the mouth. Since we aren't creating a corner with a triangle, we've actually got a quad here. We're going to have to keep pulling these points back and adjusting them as we extrude. Okay, so I'm going to shape the mouth just a little bit more. He doesn't have a lot of shape to his mouth, but I'm going to pull up a couple of these points here. Right here, kind of create that part of the lip on him. Those little points right there. Let's go ahead and grab the edge again. We'll double click on it. Okay, let's go ahead and extrude. And I'm going to push it straight back. So you're seeing it coming together there. I'm going to center it in world space now and scale it in Y. So that's bringing the upper and lower lip down together, creating some volume there. Do another extrusion. Center it in world space. I'm going to push this one back, starting to creating the inside of the mouth. And with this one, I'm going to actually just start pulling it up. We still want to see a little bit of thickness on the lower lip, but not the upper lip. The upper lip can start folding back in. And I'm going to extrude again. Center it in world space. Push it back. And in this case, I'm going to start opening the mouth up. So if we come in here on the inside, and I'm going to make one more extrusion, and then we're going to have to reshape this mouth a little bit. So centering it in world space, I'm going to push it back, and then we can open it up again. And I'm going to go ahead and scale it uniformly just a little bit. And to make the inside of a character's mouth, we actually need to open this up quite a bit. So I'm going to actually grab some of the edges here and start moving them up. And grab some of the vertices now, start pulling them up. And go around grabbing all these vertices and pushing them down to open up the mouth on the bottom. Okay, that's all looking pretty good. So we could probably make one more extrusion back here. If we were setting this character up for animation, we would continue extruding all the way back for the inside of the mouth, making an esophagus almost where it starts to wrap down into the neck. And we're not going to take this character that far. We're just going to push it back far enough to create a little bit of an inner mouth. Centering that in world space, pushing it back. I'm going to scale up to open up the mouth even more. And I can make one more extrusion here, and that should be plenty. Okay. So there's the inside of his mouth now. And some of these points could probably be up a little bit higher if we were putting a full interior mouth in here with teeth. There would not be enough room. Just opening some of those points up right there. Okay, so I'm going to come back to object mode and hit 3 on the keyboard. We can take a look at him. So there's his mouth. He's got a little thin lip, which we want. And just a couple of these little points. I'm not too happy with how they're coming up. Pull them out just a little bit. Okay, and then this area right here, we're actually going to make another extrusion for this part of the lip. Let's go ahead and extrude that. And let's go ahead and just turn reflection off for right now. Get rid of those points on there. See a little better. So I'm just going to scale it down. It's R on the keyboard. I'm scaling that area in. And W on the keyboard. And I'm just going to push it back a little bit. And I might want to scale it in Y just a little. So I'm angling it just to get more of an indent down here and less of a one at the base of the nose. Okay, so I've got a little bit of shaping to do down here with his lips. They're not quite there yet. And he actually probably needs, I want him to have kind of a noticeable lip line. So I'm going to go ahead and stick an edge loop around here. That's going to help form that. And let's turn the eyes back on. Take a look at him. Okay. We can duplicate the eye group over. So we can have one on the other side and take a look at him. And we centered the pivot for the group eye and need to move that pivot point back over to the origin. So I'm going to hit Insert on the keyboard. It's Home on the keyboard if you're on a Mac. And I'm going to hold down the X key to snap to the grid and just grab the X translator and snap it over to the center. That center there. And insert again to get out of that. And then I'll come under Edit, Duplicate Special Option Box, reset the settings, and under Scale X, I'm going to put in a -1 and duplicate that over. So there's our character with his eyes. And we'll come back in the next lesson and we will model the ear.